Airports are horrific. You start a holiday usually at an airport. That is hell on earth. They lie to you. They say the plane's leaving in 20 minutes. The plane is not leaving in 20 minutes. You're lied to. You're shuffled about. You're cattle. Ghastly.
The idea of the holiday was to get away from it all, but dream on, because for now you're stuck in no man's land with thousands of new best friends.
Well, there's something about airports that it's not natural to be crammed in with so many people. It's what in the Bible. It's not supposed to be hell. People of all different languages kind of milling around.
We always have this sort of family game where we sort of go, right, OK, who do we least want to sit next to?
You'll have plenty of time to speculate. Because, gosh, imagine the surprise the plane's delayed for an hour or 5, and you're in a miserable human pile-up with not enough plastic moulded chairs to go round. No choice but to zone them all out, play dead, drape yourself over a sticky carpet in Terminal 3. And the icing on the cake is that your precious holiday time is ticking away.
We were at Gatwick 13 hours waiting for this bloody plane, and they never said it's going to be 13 hours. You know, it was going to be another hour. It's going to be another hour. And I don't know if you've ever tried to spend an entire day at the Gatwick Village, but as villages go, its attractions are limited. You know, once you've browsed around the sock shop and realised that none of those socks are particularly for you, once you've thought, actually, I don't really need a extra large sort of gift package of smoked salmon, there's not much else to do.
You finally get on the plane, and the scrum proper begins. Where to put your hand luggage. You cram all your things into the regulation little hold-all, and everyone else has cheated and brought a wardrobe full. And it dawns on you, if you're grumpy, the worst thing about holidays is other people. And there are going to be a lot of them.
It's such a lottery. You sit on the flight and you get on and you think, I've had a result. There's an empty seat next to me that I can put my bag on and my newspaper. Oh, fantastic. You know, and the flight's filling out and filling out. And then they go, right, we're just about to close the doors. And you think, yes, I've got this empty seat. And then they go, oh, hang on, one more passenger. And then Monsieur Mange 2 gets on like that and waddles. And it's like this sort of slow motion. And you just think, I just know he's going to sit next to me.
Fat people on aeroplanes are the bane of my life. I am a thin man. I am not overweight. I always end up to an absolutely enormous, obese person who spills all over me. Bits of them come over the armrest. Bits of them invade underneath your feet. They can't confine themselves to one space.
The woman in the seat next door was so large that sort of only a small section of her ass could get in the seat, so the rest of it was just like that, all mainly on my husband's lap. But you'll be surprised to hear, is much more long-suffering than me, because I spent the whole flight going as if, you know, my harumph thing was going to make her lose weight in 9 hours.
Why should fat people and thin people pay the same for their tickets when it uses more airline fuel to get a fat person airborne than a thin person?
You know, when you get on a flight and they measure your hand baggage, you have to put your bag. People's bottoms should be put in that, because there are people that get on flights whose arses would not fit into those grids.
Personal space is at such a premium that every millimetre counts. Armrest war breaks out into unspoken air rage. Again, it's other people who are obviously to blame.
Men are frightful because they are very territorial, so there's always an elbow, you know, but it's not halfway down the seat, it's over where you are, and that you're having to sort of do that.
Armrests are always a problem. Who gets the armrest first? And the woman always does. If there's a woman next to you, her arm is firmly on the armrest. You dare not touch her arm, because that would be molesting her.
I've sat on so many flights. Men are the worst, actually, I have to say. They'll do this. They sit in their seat and there's 2 armrests, which means 1 each, but they do that. And why do men have to sit with their legs at this sort of angle? Why can't they just sit normally?
They cabin crew will now demonstrate the safety equipment and procedures on board this aircraft. A copy of the safety information card can be found in the seat pocket in front of you. This shows the brace position and gives vital information on what you should do in an emergency.
What I think they should do, because some of the stewards and stewardesses rather enjoy the little sort of pull on this, pull on that, and put the straps around yourself like that. You can tell they love doing it. They should develop into a sort of modern ballet. And the airline steward or stewardess would just do this little dance without the pretense of it being a security announcement.
Your cabin crew will now point to your nearest exits.
The safety demonstration. It's a little game we play, and it's a game of two halves. Either you pretend you're a jet setter, Mr. Cool, and haven't even noticed it, don't bother me with this now. Or you sit up and nod supportively like teacher's pet. So that if you're all plummeting towards the sea, you'll be the one picked out for first jump on the slide.
I listen diligently to the safety thing because I feel so sorry for those girls having to do it. So I'm there, even though I've been flying every day of the week, and they're going, which is even more embarrassing for them. You can see them thinking she's a total nutter. Why isn't she ignoring me like everybody else?
It's like going to a stand-up comedy show and sitting very near the front and reading while the comic is performing. You don't want to do that. She's doing her turn. This is her moment in the spotlight. Ta-da!
I listen so assiduously, I think sometimes they think it may be satire.
I kind of watch it with a sort of pleading look on my face, as if I think that if she knows I'm really paying attention, then we won't crash. That somehow the crashing will be punishment for all the people who, you know, I've got the Wall Street Journal and all those people who think, I've flown before, I'm not looking at this, and then peeking it a bit sneakily over the top of the paper. I'm like nodding, waiting for the good bits. I love this bit when she inflates it with the top-up thing.
Your life jacket is kept underneath or between your seats.
An ejector seat you could understand. A parachute, a sensible precaution. But little knots and bells and whistles. It's all a fairy story, a fantasy. Surely any fool can see that if we burst into flames or the wing falls off, we're all going to forget where to tie our double bow and trample each other to death while hurtling to the bottom of the ocean. Now it's become a communal comfort blanket.
I just love all of it. There's so many. It's such a great story, isn't it? The great bit about put yours on first before helping other people. That must be a dramatic moment. You know, you can imagine the strings swelling up at that moment. No, Gladys, put yours on first before you help me.
They never demonstrate the whistle. That's what annoys me. How do you know your whistle works? You could be there among the sharks and you need this whistle to call in all those patrol boats that have been looking for you for 10 minutes.
I would like to pick them up on one or two of the points. They say, in the event of a plane landing on water, well, you want to go, sorry, just going back a bit there, landing on water, because this is made of metal, this plane, isn't it? So what, it doesn't sink? The metal doesn't sink? What happens? How does that work exactly when we land on the water?
We're all experienced travellers, but you wouldn't think so. Some of us are still a little nervous of flying. We catastrophise. We get on a plane and assume the worst.
So could you put your seat forward, please?
Jeff will witter on about, you know, the fact that if there's anything wrong with the plane, it won't take off. But I've been sitting on a plane and it wouldn't take off. Right, and then there's an announcement from the captain saying, I'm very, very sorry, we can't take off. The back door won't close. I'm sorry, the back door won't close. And basically turn around and there's an air hostess and she's running, she's taking a run for the back door. And she's running down the aisle and she's getting to the door and she's going like that and she's trying to close it with her arse. And I'm thinking, that's not right. You know, closing the door with your arse.
I've come down in planes before. Had a nasty one, was struck by lightning. And the pilot, who wasn't the most tactful of men, said, I think we can get to Manchester. You think? You don't have a pilot. Like a firmer opinion or a lie. But don't tell me you think you can get to Manchester. No problem there.
I tend to be slightly over-vigilant on an aeroplane. I will sometimes have to have a word.
So when anything goes, boom, you go, what's that? What was that? Is that the wing coming off? As if they'll have a noise, you know, to alert the pilot that the wings come off. I see the wings come off.
And I don't like going to the toilet either, because I think that if people walk up and down the aisle, you can tilt the plane. I just want everyone to sit still, basically. Preferably with their hands on their heads like that.
Back in the golden age of air travel, flying was really something. Not that any of us plebs got a look in. You had to be properly rich and famous to fly anywhere.